What's up, everyone? It's your boy NornRad89 here, bringing you another video, and it's a ranking video for today, and we're going to be talking about the Alien franchise. I had a Twitter poll on my Twitter account, and my followers voted that Alien was the next franchise that they wanted to see me rank. So today, you're going to see where they all lay, and of course, this is just my list, my personal opinion. I would love to hear from all of you in the comments section. Be sure to share your list of ranking for the Alien franchise. So right off the bat, this is one of my favorite all-time franchises. I could find some enjoyment in all of these films. There's like one film that I kind of don't like, but I can still watch it and find enjoyment in it. I've seen the film like 8 times, but it's not one out of the Alien franchise. It's never going to be the one that I first return to. That's why it's at the bottom. And let's kick this off. And we're going to be including AVP and AVP Requiem in this ranking too as well. So we have 8 films, and coming in at number 8 is going to be Alien Resurrection. This was the 4th film in the franchise. This is where we get the introduction of Winona Ryder's character, some other characters that are in the film. I believe Sigourney Weaver's character in this one, she's a hybrid. For this one, she's a mix between a human and a xenomorph, so her acting and the way her character comes off is different. And I think that was kind of cool. Sigourney Weaver got to do something really different with her Ripley character in this film. Brad Dourif is in this movie as well, too. And there's some gruesome scenes and some cool effects, and like the underwater xenomorph attack is really cool. And like I said, I can just have some fun with this because it's like dumb fun, but it's not one that I return to very often. And it is my least favorite just because I don't really find enjoyment in the characters that much or the story. Like I said, it doesn't pull me in, but I don't think it's a horrible movie or anything like that. It's just one that doesn't pull me back. Coming in at number 7, this one actually fell down a bit. It was at the number 6 ranking before this, and back in the day. But after a return watch to this, I rewatched some of these films over the last couple weeks, and number 7 for me is going to be Alien vs. Predator Requiem. And this film is pretty cool compared to that first one because they did include the R-rated factor. It's very gruesome. I don't have a problem with like the brutality in this film. I think the only problem is the tone that they went for. It's very kind of slasher status, and that doesn't really fit the Alien versus Predator universe. But the Predator in this movie, if there was like a Predator cinematic universe on their world, this is the freaking Predator that they would get to play the Punisher. This freaking dude is amazing. Like, the Predator in this film goes ape shit, kills all kinds of xenomorphs. He's going by, covering up his evidence. But a main problem with this film, probably the number one problem besides the tone, is this film is just too dark. It is really dark. Like, it feels like they went with complete natural lighting and they had no money for lights on set. That's the way it feels when you watch this. And some of the scenes are straight up just like a black, just straight black, like you're watching nothing, and you can see like little pieces of the Predator and like his fingers and like half a side of his mask. Like, it just doesn't look that great. I feel like it could have been, they could have went with some other kind of coloring in the film and it would have made it just a little bit better. It had more ambiance, and it probably would be, like I said, higher up on the list. Next up, we have number 6, and this one is might be a hot take because I've seen a lot of people talk about this movie and they don't really like this movie. Even the man who was at the helm of creating this movie and the director chair doesn't really like this movie, thinks it's kind of a tarnished piece in his repertoire of his films, and that's Alien 3. And I actually think Alien 3 has a good cast. Like, the guy cast around Ripley is amazing. It's got these weird tussles like with the female and male, like, because she's stuck on a prison planet and stuff like that. And like the way the beginning starts, it just kind of rips your heart out. The fact that like everybody from the previous film known is like dead, and Ripley's all alone again. It's basically like starting over. Like, it's wild. Like, I really didn't have a problem with it because it like sets the tone for the movie, because at the beginning it just rips your heart out because you find out that all the survivors and everybody that was with Ripley from Aliens is dead, and you're like, damn, they died on that ship in the crash, and Ripley was the only survivor, and now she's stuck on this prison planet, and there's a xenomorph running around. Like, oh man, I think this one actually is one of the scariest Alien films. It does have like a horrific like scenery and stuff, and the way Ripley teams up with the guys at the end, and they're setting the traps, and like that molten lava with like orange and red hues and stuff going on in this film, like it just really does have an ambiance. And I think Alien 3 is a pretty underrated film. Most people just get so upset about that beginning because they love aliens and the fact that they kind of tarnish that victory a little bit. But like I said, I think it just sets the tone for what Alien 3 is. And it's still, I think, a pretty solid Alien film. We're at the top 5. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And be sure to follow me on Twitter, on my social media, so you can vote in the polls that I have, or just follow me so we can chit chat about movies, games, and all that kind of stuff. I would love to hear from all of you. Now, number 5 is going to be the first Alien versus Predator movie. And yes, this film might not be a rated R film. It might be a very tamed, kind of edited film, but it does have a good story to it. It might kind of mess up the origins of the aliens and the predators, and like time-wise it doesn't really fit the Alien universe, but I still think Alien versus Predator is a pretty solid film. Like, in terms of getting them together to fight for the first time in terms of a versus movie, this is like one of the best stories you could have gone with. And I do like Alien versus Predator Requiem because it doesn't play around with you. There's no bullshit. That one just goes balls to the wall. They assume you've seen Alien versus Predator and they're like, we're just going right away, right after that first one. But this first one, I think, even though it's not rated R, it has some better characters in it. You can actually see what's going on. And the Alien versus Predator, the Queen Alien versus Predator, like, oh man, that is probably an epic moment. I really like that scene. And like the fact that our human, like, she's helping out the Predator and she gets, like, basically wins over the respect of the Predator at the end of the film because of what she does. Like, oh man, that's really cool. Like, I thought that was awesome. And like I said, this is probably the best version of kind of like Alien versus Predator you could kind of go with. I like this version, and I still wouldn't be mad if they did a third one, because I heard they were going to do a third film and then they just kind of got scrapped. They were talking about it for years and then they scrapped it, and I would still be down to see a third movie. Coming in at number 4 is going to be right here. We're going to bring out Daniels. We got Daniels right here, this baby. Alien Covenant. We're going to bring this out. And let's just get David in here too. We'll stack them. We'll just stack them. David and right here. Let's get this. Boom, boom, boom. So you can see this right here. Get them in the picture. Yes, Alien Covenant, the sequel to Prometheus. I really do enjoy that film as well. I really do. And this one, I think, blended that cool Prometheus, really mythology and like tone of having good dialogue and really stretching the imagination, and brought back the xenomorphs, brought back some of that alien scares that we like, you know what I mean? This film was a good balance. There might be heavy on the CGI, but we have some great freaking actors and actresses in this movie. Like, all the characters are like, oh my god. And Danny McBride is another great character in this film, for real. Alien Covenant, I think, is highly underrated. It's got some awesome kills. Like the shower scene kill is one of my favorites. Like, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. Like, for real. Like, Alien Covenant was badass. And it might not be as good as Prometheus, or it might not be on the same level as Aliens and Alien, but Alien Covenant, I think, was a good sequel to Prometheus. And even if they don't do another one after this, but I heard Ridley Scott is still down and he wants to do another one after Alien Covenant that continues the story with David. Even if they don't do that, I'm still happy with the Alien films we got. I think they're all badass, but I think they can do more Alien type franchise films, and they don't have to be all about xenomorphs. And that's what's amazing, is they could really stretch the imagination and do something different. And now, coming in at number 3, probably one of the hottest takes, most diversive films in the Alien franchise, because you either really love this film or you really freaking hate it. And I really freaking love this movie, and it's Prometheus. I had no problem with the scope of the story that Ridley Scott was trying to tell. He really did bring the Alien franchise and just increase the world. Like, he made the world like from something like this to something like this, to an actual galaxy with stakes, with real beliefs and religion and all this kind of stuff. And I freaking loved it. The engineers, the creation of like basically the first xenomorph as we see it unfold when the humans come across that planet and they find that sludge that the engineers were using to really manipulate evolution and all that kind of stuff. Some of the scenes, like when that guy who has the face, like after his face is like sucked in and he becomes like that weird mutation, like kind of evolution thing, and he attacks the ship and they have to burn his body. Like, oh man, there's good body horror in this film, and that's why I love it. Is Prometheus really takes it to that next level where it's scary like Aliens and Alien, but it has this great element of body horror and stuff like that. And it's just, the other two films are just so much stronger in terms of tone and acting and stuff like that. That's where this one kind of falls flat a little bit, is there is a little bit of a pacing problem, and the acting isn't up to par across the board like these top two you're gonna see. But Prometheus is still a freaking badass film. Like, if you haven't seen this film in a long time or haven't seen this film at all, like, I highly recommend checking it out. But you have to be into digesting heavy dialogue and really understanding the mythos of the Alien universe. And it just, like I said, this film just elevated the Alien franchise to a new level for me. So that's why when Prometheus came out, I was just like, damn, when I saw it in theaters, I was freaking floored. I got floored. I was like, holy shit, like, what did I just witness? Now, here we are at the top two, and coming in at number two. And once you find out my number two, you're going to know what my number one is. But number two spot is going to be the very first film, Alien. Like, oh man, this is probably heralded as one of the greatest sci-fi horror films of all time. You can't really argue that. And the impact that Alien had when it first came out was pretty heavy. Like, this is one of the films that my mom remembers seeing when she was a kid because of her aunt. Her sister took her, my aunt, her older sister took her to go see this film. And like, just, yeah, my mom remembers pretty much everything about the drive-in theater, about how it was, because that's how intense this movie is Alien is one of those movies, like, if you got a chance to see this film in theaters when it first came out, you were never gonna fucking forget it. And still to this day, it holds up, even on screen when you're watching it as a child or you're watching it with your family for the first time. It's got creepy vibes. It's got this amazing tone. The fact that it switches our main heroine from Dallas to Ripley kind of midway through the film. You think Dallas, the leader of the crew, is kind of going to be like the main guy championing this, and then you find out, like, oh man, Ripley takes his spot. The traitor of the robot, like, oh, the Wayland, everything. It built this world, or it's laid the foundation, is what Alien did. This first film, it laid the foundation for something great that we were going to be seeing decades and decades after that. And it's really hard to argue anybody that has this film as their number one. There's just another Alien film that I enjoy more because it has this bombastic nature and crazy characters, and it goes balls to the wall. And we might as well get into it. And that's number one, my top dog, Aliens. Aliens is probably one of my favorite films of all time. It's easy in my top 20 favorite films of all times. Aliens is badass. Like, James Cameron's sequel to Ridley Scott's Alien had everything that first film had, but they took it to 11. And that's what I loved, is I loved Alien. And how could I not love Aliens more? Because, like I said, it does everything you wanted in that first film, but elevates it to an 11. And the fact that we have, like, Ripley in it, she has this new character, like her, that kind of surrogate daughter character, Newt. Like, oh man, there's just so much good chemistry across the board on all these characters, for real. Vasquez, like, how could you not talk about Vasquez? Like, she's amazing. Like, it's just, for real. Bill Paxton, rest in peace, Bill Paxton, we love you. This film, for real, Aliens, I get chills and goosebumps thinking about it, because this is the Alien film I can watch 1,000 times over again. I won't get tired of it. The other ones, there's some things like I can get tired of it, or I can, like, be like, oh, I can do without that. But Aliens, I will never get tired of this freaking movie. Like, if it's on TV, if it's halfway through, if it's 20 minutes to the end, if it's the very beginning, I'm always trying to sit down and watch it at any moment, at any time. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. It's one of those films, like, it just grabs you. And that's what I was talking about when I was talking about the Alien films, like the one at the bottom. That Alien Resurrection doesn't just pull me in, it doesn't grab me. The exact opposite from Aliens. Aliens reaches out of that fucking screen, it grabs me, and it pulls me in, and I want to watch it every time. Thanks for sticking around with me all for this ranking of the Alien franchise. I hope you all enjoyed it, and of course, be sure to share your list in the comments. And have a safe and happy day, everyone. Peace out.